USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Wonderful. It's time for my favorite podcast, the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. I can't wait to hear if Hasbro is making an action figure out of me in gold chrome. Or perhaps they'll just use that horrible gold color paint.
This is the way.
We're wanted men.
Welcome to episode 250 of the Smugglers Smugglers Galaxy podcast, your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy. We've got a special guest this week, along with myself, Glenn, and Jason. We got Hip Hop Trooper joining us from his home in Nashville. Stryder, how you doing, buddy?
Extremely blessed to be here, and I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great.
Awesome. Yeah, I had to hit record because we started talking and I'm like, wait a minute, time out. Let's hit record. Let's go, because we're going to get deep and I don't want to miss any of this conversation.
All good, man. All good.
Yeah.
Getting deep is something I specialize in, but that's for another podcast.
Yeah. It's not a Star Wars podcast. But yeah, thank you for doing this. This is a great treat for us. We've wanted to have you on for a while, but we're like, Willie, come on. Willie won't. We were just kind of like timid and not sure to ask you.
But you know what's crazy, man? One thing about me that people fail to realize is, and the same, a lot of brands, they think I'm untouchable for some reason. And I'm not. I'm the complete opposite. Like, I've always been very wide open with what I do. And if I go back to DragonCon 2010, or it might have been 2009, when I first debuted Hip Hop Trooper, it was just, there wasn't much music then. You know, it was a bunch of people gathering around, but there wasn't a lot of music. Not like it is now. So when I showed up with my boombox, it wasn't, look at me. It was, hey, let's have a party. I'm here for everyone.
Right.
I'm going to put this down. I've created this playlist. And that's why I saw the videos, the old video footage from 2010. And there's hundreds of us just having a good time till like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. We would get kicked out the hotel. Now we're in the streets, and it would just continue. And it was just epic, man. So Hip Hop Trooper has always been for the people, man.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Right. I've actually, we ran into you at Celebration in Anaheim, and it was like 2 a.m, and you're walking down in the parking lot just blaring. And I'm like, hip hop. I'm like, Stryder, how you doing? And you told us hi. You gave us some swag. And as soon as you told us hi and we were going our separate ways, somebody, hey, turn that crap down.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. It was in a parking lot of all places. We just hear this hip hop music, and then you cornered something with the boombox on your shoulder playing the music. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Stryder, the Hip Hop Trooper.
I have a habit of just popping up at random places. But if you hear the music, it could be me. If you hear really good music, it probably is me.
Yeah.
Well, it was an honor to meet you then.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
pleasure.
you too.
So I guess let's start at the beginning. I mean, you were talking about DragonCon and developing this character. You know, where did that come from? Why did you decide not to be a stormtrooper for that DragonCon and put on the Adidas gear for your stormtrooper?
So this story is funny. Like, it is really for me, it's a comfort story. It's I remember, like many of us, I grew up, I saw the original Star Wars in theaters.
Yeah.
I had the original action figures. You know, it's magical. And always wanted to be a stormtrooper. And it's funny because I love the click and the clatter and the plastic rubbing together when the stormtroopers would walk. Hip Hop Trooper doesn't do that, mind you, because I have to cut and shape my stuff. So like when I'm carrying these 50, 60 pound boom boxes, I could be comfortable. And I've been a bartender for 21 years, and I got this really good gig at TGI Fridays in New York. They hired me to do their summer cocktails and to teach their bartenders how to do tricks, because I do tricks and all that other nonsense. And so I flew out there. They paid me a bunch of money. I came home with all this money, and my grandfather just passed. So I was feeling kind of really low, and I was like, nothing makes me feel better when I'm low than spending money, and also spending money on myself, selfishly. So at the time, I didn't know anything about the 501st Legion or anything other than Googling, where can I buy Stormtrooper armor? Got this big box in the mail. It was like $1,200. Wasn't the best. I didn't know any different. Put it on. Helmet was absolutely awful. So I chucked that away and put on a clone trooper helmet, which I bought from Target just for shits and giggles. Put that on with my armor, completely, it's like wearing two left feet. I was all mismatched. Go to my first Dragon Con, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know a soul. Show up, I see all these stormtroopers, invaders, and I was like, oh shit, people really do this. But unfortunately, they looked at me and they kind of laughed. And they made faces and they leaned, look at him, blah, 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 smirking away. And I was like, these guys are a-holes, So I was like, these guys are complete a-holes. I didn't expect this. So I hung out for a little bit, went back home. And it was interesting because that evening I was like, right, I'm going back tomorrow. F those guys. I'm going to do my own thing. And I put on some of my favorite movies, Beat Street, Crush Groove, Breaking. And I said, you know what? And I looked at one of my boomboxes, which was sitting on the wall, and I was like, what if I grab that? And I go back as a hip hop trooper. And at the time it was, and I remember all I did is I got blue stripes and clear tape, and I taped it down the side of my legs, same with the arms, shoulders. Put the Adidas logo on just because of Run DMC. Nothing to do with branding. I was like, Run DMC was rocking it. I'm going to rock it. Went back the next day with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, mind you.
Yeah.
And it was a whole new experience. And that was how the Hip Hop Trooper was born. Then learning that you can get better armor from here, there, I actually spent the next year resourcing and get them separate pieces and painting them. And that's when I decided to go red. And almost killed myself, actually, because I was spray painting indoors.
Oh, no.
Not a great idea.
No.
And I couldn't wait to debut it. And at the time, I was only doing Dragon Con, and I would do Atlanta Hawks games. So the Hawks would hit me up, and I would do halftime shows. I would make appearances and stuff like that. And that's all I was doing. I never expected the Hip Hop Trooper to really explode the way it did.
Yeah.
And when I moved to LA, that's when everything just went nuclear.
Yeah. Yeah, you really permeated the culture. It's very difficult in the Star Wars culture to kind of make something unique and different. And you've really struck a chord, and you've got people kind of, I don't want to say cloning it, but kind of following that subculture of that hip hop spirit, I guess, in the Star Wars cosplay. And it's just kind of fascinating and awesome.
Yeah. And actually going back to like I said, it was a comfort thing. These guys made me feel so awkward and uncomfortable. I wanted to go back to show my personality and my love for old school hip hop. That's why I created Hip Hop Trooper, because then it didn't matter. My armor still wasn't the best, but I felt comfortable, so, and then years and years went by and my confidence grew. And then, it became me, Hip Hop Trooper was me. And then at the time I was in the 501st Legion, there's Boba Fett, Sand Trooper, Shadow Scout. Nobody wanted to see those guys. They always wanted the Hip Hop Trooper to show up.
Of course.
Which the Garrisons, some liked it, some not so much, because unfortunately, those characters don't do much but stand around and look cool. And here's this guy with a boombox dancing with kids and kind of putting on a show. It was like, yo, we want to be around this guy,
Yeah. So what is, I mean, you're kind of referring to Hip Hop Trooper as though he's another character that he's not you. What does Hip Hop Trooper represent to you?
Well, really, it's just like an extension of me. Yeah. It's kind of like if I could wear my personality, that would be Hip Hop Trooper. kind of like a Clark Kent Superman deal. You know, you've got, I'm a bartender, but all of a sudden I jump in the phone booth and I come out and I'm hip hop trooper.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, what it is. But it became so interesting for me as kind of like, I would be at conventions. I don't really go to too many conventions these days. But when I would show up and somebody would come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I love your cosplay," I would get offended.
Really?
In my head, I'm thinking, what are you talking about? This is me. I've been doing this for years. This is
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Costume.
Right.
But obviously, I wouldn't verbally express myself to somebody because they see a costume they like. That's the verbiage they say, and that's what they think it is. But I would always be like, "Nah, man, this is me." Is that something I just put on?
Right. And it does kind of, you saying that, it feels that way with you and Hip Hop Trooper, because you're one and the same to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're Stryder, but yet you're Hip Hop Trooper. So, I mean, I definitely, you've merged it pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, just looking at the stuff behind you, you've got a arcade cabinet, you've got a stuffed doll, you've got posters, you've got the boombox. It's like, it's just all branded Hip Hop Trooper. It's just really, people are really, into the thing, and they're making the art, and they're really celebrating the icon that you've made, which is just awesome.
I mean, I've got to the point now where I turn down a lot of opportunities from toy makers and such, because I've been taken advantage of so much. I mean, the last two toy makers I worked with, and I actually show you those in a minute, incredible toys. But it was, when we make these deals, like I'm the type of guy to be like, look, just send me 10, sell as many as you want, So guys were making 100, 200, and they were selling them for $70, $80 and up. And they would take sometimes 6-7 months for them to give me mine. And people are posting theirs. I got mine. They're on eBay selling for $500 and all kind of nonsense. And I'm like, but where's mine?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's happened with the last two toy makers. So now I'm very selective, like who I work with now, because, you go on eBay right now, you'll see some of my figures selling for $2,000-$3,000. Wow. How? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm worth more than some vintage Star Wars stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
only thing we got in common is we're the same age.
That's insane.
But it is.
Well, you don't
true.
look a day over 21. I'll
there
say
you
that.
go.
Thank you very much. Yes.
But yeah, anytime I see a red Stormtrooper, I think a Hip Hop Trooper, and you're always looking, does it have the stripes, or is it just a red Stormtrooper, somebody stealing it? Because then even when they did the Sith Troopers from in the prequels, it was like that. Did they just rip off hip hop, or is it something different,
And I got so many emails like, they're ripping you off. I'm like, first of all, like I can't speak on that. I have no idea. But I will say though, when they did the Happy Meal with the Sith Trooper, they definitely ripped me off on that one. I don't know if you saw it, but I got one right here. I'll show it to you.
All right.
Okay, so when they did this, all right, so they did the Happy Meal Stormtrooper.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you look at his pose.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, I've never ever in my life seen a b-boy pose on any Stormtrooper in any comic books or movies. They just stand still. They never stand like this.
Right.
That's how I stand for 75% of my photos.
Arms crossed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arms crossed, legs kind of spread a little bit, kind of like this little toy doing it. And I'm like, what?
It's basically the old school Run DMC pose. That pose. You think of that pose, and that was that pose. Wow.
Boom,
Yeah. Crazy.
That's crazy. I never even paid attention to it until you pointed it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nuts, man. But it was like I said, I've been very grateful over the years. I've had so many opportunities and I've done so many amazing things. And now I'm an official ambassador for the Hip Hop Museum. I'm doing Hip Hop Hall of Fame inductions. I got another big one coming up this August. I do 2 or 3 a year. My stuff's hanging in. My very first Dragon Con red armor is in the Hip Hop Museum.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Where's that?
It's in DC.
Okay.
And my very first shoes I wore during Dragon Con, my very first chain, one of my action figures, the chest plate. I think one other thing. They're all hanging in the museum, which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That really is amazing. I mean, that again, that goes back to you finding something that kind of permeates the culture and transcending not just Star Wars, but like, that Venn diagram of hip hop and Star Wars, and you've just kind of collided it, and really it resonates with a lot of people, which is awesome.
And if you go back to a lot of early hip hop from the early 80s, there's so many Star Wars references. So many Star Wars references. So hip hop and Star Wars really go together. And it always has done with me as a kid. And even as a kid, my dad would bring home figures. And if I didn't like certain figures, I would pop heads off and swap them around. So I was already like, I had a Lando Calrissian in Stormtrooper armor.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I had 2 spare ones.
Yeah.
I wanted a black Stormtrooper, so I popped his head on and glued it.
Yeah.
I wish I still had it. I don't know where it is now. It's buried somewhere in somebody's backyard.
We can easily get you another one. We can make that happen for you. But we were talking about Christian before, Glenn.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know you've done some posing for Christian. I'm a big fan of Christian. You can tell you walk in my house and it's like, you like Star Wars or do you like Christian Wagner? Which one?
Yeah.
I've got a few pieces in my living room and then my office is full of it. So I know you've done some posing with him. How'd that come about?
Well, I met him when I worked at East Andrews in Buckhead. He's a regular, and we got to talking. And then he was actually in my corner when I really started working on the Hip Hop Trooper. He came to some of my like early events and stuff like that, and we just really hit it off. We hung out so much that he would come to my house randomly, and we'd be drinking and stuff. And then he would leave his car at my house. We'd go out in Buckhead, and he would get home somehow. And my wife was always out of town. I'll tell you a funny story. And he parked his car at my house. He had about 20 original pieces in his car, right? And I was like, and huge, they're I was like, oh shit, I don't want to leave these in my car, because if somebody breaks in his car, because they were just all on the back seat, front seat, everywhere. So I put them all in my house. My wife, not being the biggest Star Wars fan, but my wife loves art. So our house is very eclectic with all the art. She was out of town. I took all of her pieces off the wall and replaced it with Christian Wagner pieces. My entire house was Christian Wagner.
Oh.
And I'm sitting in the house watching TV, and she comes walking in, and she comes and she drops her bags, and she goes, "What's going on? What is this?" I wish I filmed it, because she said a few other choice words which I won't repeat. But yeah, I took it all down and put her stuff back up. And about literally a month later, Christian came to get his stuff. I was like, "Bro, you need to come get this stuff."
Oh my God.
Because I'm going to start just hanging it up in various rooms. It's going to stay there. Right.
It'll end up on eBay, man. Come on.
Yeah. But Christian, we've been close friends for a long time. I haven't spoken to him in a while. I'm planning on attending my first Dragon Con this year. I haven't bought a Dragon Con pass since probably 2 years before the pandemic. Wow. That was the last time I really I've drove up the last couple of years, and I've jumped in the parade, and then I've jumped in my car and I've came home.
Right.
But I haven't done Dragon Con in like 7 years.
Wow.
So, did you know that story? What happened?
No.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, here comes the juicy stuff.
All right.
So, Dragon Con was my Christmas every single year. I would sacrifice anything and everything to go.
Yeah.
And then me and my friend Bobby, I don't know if you remember the last party on Oderon.
I remember that. Yeah.
So I would jump on the decks, and then we would all be on stage, and we had the guards, and we had the Princess Leia. It was amazing. But they shut it down. They said it got too big, but they wouldn't give us a bigger hall. Which I'm like, just give us a bigger hall. No, we're shutting it down, because they said the lines were too long and it got too rowdy. It wasn't getting rowdy. It was a normal, people would break out in lightsaber fights and the normal stuff. So they shut it down. So people are hitting me up and saying, "Hey man, what's going on with the last party of Oderon?" I said, "Well, they've replaced us with like a drum and bass or techno DJ, and it's no longer going to be us." So I had a friend, Caesar, who was DJing the Hyatt at the time. And he said to me, "Hey, why don't you just come jump on the decks for a couple hours?" And I was like, "That's a good idea. I'm going to do that." So I made a little flyer. I say, "Hey, there's no party at last party of Oderon, but I will be DJing at the Hyatt from I think it was 8 till 10 or something like that, or 9 till 11. The Dragon Con people sent me an email saying, "We heard you're doing your own thing. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We're fine with it." And I'm like, first of all, who cares, right?
Right.
So time comes. I'm suited up. I get on the decks, I'm setting everything up, I'm plugging in my laptop and stuff, and it's packed. Downstairs is completely packed. I start DJing, we're having a good time. Then the police show up, and they're like, "We need to talk to you."
Oh my God.
They had a couple Dragon Con people with clipboards with them, and they was like, "There he is," and I'm like, "What is going on?"
Like
So
an outlaw.
the police got me. They got the handcuffs out, right?
Oh,
And I was like, "What's going on?" And then the one police officer, I guess he knew who I was. He said, "Come in the back." So they took me in the kitchen area of the Hyatt, and he said, "Look, man, I know this is some bullshit, and I apologize, but somebody called us and said to arrest you because you're not supposed to be down here DJing." And I go, "What's going on?" And the other police officer said, "Well, apparently you stole everybody from the other party and it's empty and they're not happy about it." And I'm like, come on. And at the time, I was dealing with so much stuff.
Yeah.
I was getting emails from security every year telling me I'm not allowed to bring a boombox anymore and music is not allowed. So I started to develop this chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Right.
At night, when they let me go, I went back to my room and I got one of my biggest boom boxes. It's called the Death Star Destroyer. It's like 80 pounds of just noise. So I grab it. They turned me dark side, right? So I grab the boom box and I take it up outside the last party of Older on the new one. And I start blasting music. So everybody runs out of there. And now we're doing it on their front door, right? And now security from Dragon Con, they're losing it. So they're arguing with me. I'm arguing with them. The police are getting involved. Eventually I left. But I promised myself I would never go back to Dragon Con again after that.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I have not did a Dragon Con or bought a pass since then. So this year I have a hotel. I got some friends from California coming, which I haven't seen in a while, which is going to be fun. And they've never done Dragon Con. And I feel like it's been so long, I haven't done Dragon Con either. So I don't know what to expect.
Right.
I'm going to go back this year and try to let the past be the past,
Awesome.
you know, and just have some fun with my friends and my fans and like-minded folks.
Awesome.
That's some bullshit. I mean, pardon my French, but I mean, it's just, it goes to show like how cool you are and just people want to be part of that. And
yeah, and it really like, it felt like I broke up with a girlfriend that I really,
Right.
you know, so I was angry for months, you know,
Because they actually have you on like their advertisements and stuff.
they always put me on flyers. I'm always in the magazine. Someone said they had me on one of the banners one year.
Yeah, in downtown Atlanta.
And I'm like, but I thought you don't like me. What's going on?
right, you kicked you out. You got the police involved. That's
Right? Like, come on, man. And I'm not doing that to hurt nobody. All I'm doing is what I've done since 2010.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. So, yeah, but this year, like I said, I'm going back this year. And I've changed a lot since then. It's been a long time, you know, so I'm going to be on my best behavior.
Yeah.
Until you're not. Until
you're not.
I bring two boom boxes this year. I bring like something retro, something nice, and a big FU box just in case.
something that's very loud.
Yeah, and that's crazy because that's Dragon Con. I've heard a lot worse stories come out of Dragon Con than, you know, somebody DJing too loud or something.
Right. So, you know, it really threw me off, man. And I was like, all right, there goes Dragon Con. But like I said, I would sneak in the parades every year. And, you know, which was great. But I have not walked in the Hyatt or the Hilton or the Marriott in 7 years. So
wow,
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Hopefully everything goes well this summer for you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to let things get to me. I mean, like I said, I have my son now. I have a lot of things in my life are different now.
Yeah.
And the bigger picture is better than the small moment that might be frustrating.
Right. Now it's just a good story and you can move on from that.
That's it. You know, it's just a story, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. I got plenty. That's just
You're the first person we've had on the show that's been interviewed by William Shatner.
Yeah.
Which was pretty awesome. How was that? I mean, he is an icon, and if it was me, I'd be just like sweating bullets because it's like I can't see past that Captain Kirk is asking me questions right now. What was that experience like?
Do you know what? That story was interesting because I was living in LA and I was doing, I don't know if you ever, I did a show called Dweebcast. I did like maybe 4 or 5 episodes with them. And I would show up at this studio And I would stand up and we would do all this cool stuff and ask questions. And they put it together really well.
Mhm.
And one of the guys from Dweepcast went on to do bigger and better things. And one day he called me out of the blue. He said, "Hey, could you get down to the LA market in the next couple of hours?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, we're doing a show called Brown Bag Wine Tasting with William Shatner. Would you be in? Do you want to be on the show?" I was like, "Sure. All right." So I jumped in my car, got my stuff, came down. They said, "All right, come on, we'll put you in makeup." I'm like, "Makeup? I don't need makeup. Look at me." Right.
I'm perfect.
So we get there, and the lady, she's still doing a couple little dabs here and there.
Yeah.
She goes, "I just want to warn you, he's a piece of shit. He's gave all of us shit all day. Like, he's a nightmare to work with. So just be prepared."
Yeah.
All the other guests, he's really annoyed them. So I'm like, "All right, cool. So I wish I had all the footage that we didn't use." So we sit down, he comes out, and literally we just start talking. There's no script, there's nothing. We just go off. And we were talking for about an hour and 20 minutes about everything. And he was incredible. Like, and it was weird because halfway through, I looked at him, I said, "Wait a minute. Can I have a chance to talk to you? Because you're so interested in me. I'm not even getting a chance to talk to you." And he really liked that. And then I started talking about aliens and space and stuff, and he was great. And it was the cool part for me was midway through the episode, there was 2 more people, because I think they shot 4 episodes that day. And he said to his agent, he said, "Cancel the other episodes. Cancel them. I want to talk to Stryder."
Wow.
We just stayed and kept talking and drinking wine, and like what you saw on the actual edit was just a fraction of what we really did and what we really spoke about. But it was really, really cool.
Yeah, he seems like a good interview. I've heard that about him before, where he can be difficult to work with, but he seems like somebody who can really dive deep into things, and he was really getting into your personal life. And
yeah.
And even when he was looking at you, it was like he was trying to get to know you in a way that was more than just perfunctory. It was like, I really want to get to know Stryder and this icon that he's made.
Yeah. And everything was made up. Like, I've done TV shows where they gave me a rough script and da. This was just off the riff. Even when I started rapping and stuff, it was just all made up shit. When he told me, "What does this taste like?" And I said something like, "Raindrops on your windowsill on your day off." I don't know where that came from. I did straight up gibberish, but he loved it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool story.
Yeah, that was a good time though. That was really cool. And it was like it was one of those moments that even to this day, as much as I appreciate it and enjoyed it, the magnitude of it sometimes doesn't really sink in. Even though I remember watching Star Trek as a kid and Captain Kirk, and it was amazing. Yeah. I was like, wow, like sometimes I think, wow, he actually knows who I am. Like, this is pretty cool, and wanted to know more. It wasn't just to like get him in, get him out situation.
Right.
That's quite awesome. A few big people on that show. So it was nice to, share that seat with people.
Yeah. So there was no moment where you're like, I'm talking to Captain Kirk right now?
Not really, because the wine just numbed everything.
There we go.
It always does, man.
It goes.
Oh, another one. Let's go.
Yeah.
Aliens that we slept with, we were just going off.
Yeah, it was TJ Hooker. That's what you were focusing on? It's not Captain Kirk, it's TJ Hooker.
Yeah. It was that was a good time, man. It really was. I've had quite a few good experiences, but that one is definitely up there. That's up there. So, and now it's on. I was one day just browsing Apple TV and I saw it on there. And then I was browsing Hulu one day and it popped up on there. I was like, damn, I'm on these TV things now. Like, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
Do you have any questions, Glenn?
So you I know at one point you got to meet Run DMC.
Mm-hmm.
You were doing that. Was it shoot, there was something about maybe they were not them sponsoring you, but you came up with like either Adidas sponsorship or something because of that? Or
I was working at East Andrews. And this one I used to use Twitter of all things. And I get this message come through. This guy named Shake, who is Run DMC's longtime friend and manager. He says, "Hey, is this the real Hip Hop Trooper?" And I'm like, yes. And he goes, well, we're in Atlanta. This was like they did a show at the Turner Field after the game. And it was the first time Run DMC have performed together in like 20 years since Jam Master Jay died.
Right.
So I was like, they was like, hey, the guys want to meet you. And I'm like, holy shit, what? Wait a minute. Wait. I get a message saying Run DMC wants to meet me.
Right.
I've never met Daryl or Run. Like, I have no idea. They've been a big influence on everything I do. So I'm setting up the bar. We're getting ready to have a very, very busy Saturday. And I go to my boss. I say, listen, Steve, you know I do this hip hop trooper thing. I just got a tweet from Run DMC's manager. He's telling me, text him when I get to the gate and they let me in the back. They want to meet me, wear the suit, do it all. If you don't let me go, I quit right now.
Oh my God.
And I hope you understand.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And if all goes well, I'd like to reapply on Monday morning.
Right.
I said, you know what? Go. We'll figure it out. Just go. So
Awesome.
I ran home. I didn't run home. I drove home. And then got my wife say, yo, let's go. We're going, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling her as I'm in the car, we got to go. I get there. They take us up into this room and there's a bunch of celebrities in there. And all of a sudden, Daryl comes over to me, DMC, shakes my hand, said, bro, I'm so happy to finally meet you. And I'm like, how are you using my words? Like,
Right.
I'm happy to finally meet me.
Oh my God.
In comparison, you guys are Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then Run came over. We started talking. He's a little moody. He was more kind of serious. And then I met everybody. And then some of the players came in and we shot the shit with them. Went out on the field. They performed. I was backstage the whole time. It was incredible. And I've kept a relationship with DMC the whole time. So we keep in touch. And I show up when I can to certain things he does. And he always stops what he's doing and comes over to me. And everybody goes, what the hell? You know?
That's awesome.
But that was a good time, man. That was, like I said, being a hip hop trooper, I've had so many amazing moments, and it's just random stuff that comes through. And I'm like, what, me? Okay, let's do it. You know? And it's like, damn, okay, cool.
That's awesome.
The last time I was at Turner Field, and obviously it's no longer there no more. And I always tell people when they say, because I've lived in so many places in my life, they always say, what's your favorite place? And times change, but memories remain the same.
Right.
Even though that's not there anymore, the memory would never fade. So it's one of the greatest moments in my life.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's Daryl that does a comic book. I've met him before up in Charlotte, and I got to tell him I went to a Catholic grade school, and I remember having Raising Hell, and they looking at us going, you don't bring this to school anymore because there's curse words in it. And my, you know, and number one, it says Raising Hell, you know, is the title, and everybody in the Catholic schools freaking out because, oh my God, it says a curse word in the title. So it was fun telling him that. And he goes, really?
Because those early Run DMC tapes, to me, it was just rock music with rhymes.
Right.
It was rebellious. You know, it was loud. It's obnoxious. It's just like this loud sound that if you didn't like it, you hated it, you know? And that's why the boombox culture was so big, because everyone's playing this music and everyone's like, cut that shit off, you know? It's kind of like, not even listening to it. They're just hearing this loudness, you know? And yeah, man, it's just been, that was a great story though. That was really cool.
That's awesome.
You know, Daryl is definitely for the people. Like, he's great. Like, he's just an amazing cat, man. Really is.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny.
The legends.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, living legend, definitely. Icon all the way. You know, and Run DMC as well as a group. Obviously, they don't really, since Jam Master Jay died, they don't really do much. I mean, they get together for festivals from time to time, but it's kind of Run comes in his car, Daryl comes in his car, they do their show, and then they leave.
I think the Rolling Stones are the same way.
Yeah, you know, you never think like, yo, you guys like are like peanut butter and jelly, man, but they just, and they probably don't speak to each other ever until they do the show and then they leave.
Wow.
If it works.
You know, but the formula's still there, you know, the chemistry's still there.
As long as the energy's on stage, I guess nothing else matters what happens behind the stage.
And then people don't know, fans don't know, you know.
Right.
And they always put on a show, and all their songs, it's great. And you know, they actually perform. They don't lip sync with backing tracks like a lot of people do, like the new kids do. The new rappers can't rap live.
Right.
But old school
Right.
do it all the time. You
Well,
know.
I mean, music industry right now, it's all about singles. It's not about albums anymore. It's
Mhm.
just you got one hit, and I mean, how do you put on a concert when you've got one hit and then you've got 7 songs that nobody cares about?
Exactly, because music now is about popularity, not talent.
Yeah,
If you're popular, you could put out a song about snails and everybody would love it. They have no
Right.
content, a catchy hook. Probably be a minute and a half song, a TikTok song, and everyone just loves it and goes crazy.
right.
No, but that's why I'm very grateful and happy I got to grow up in the era when music really meant something. When you had to jump on the bus to go to the record store to actually buy this tape or album, and then you would just take it apart on the way home and you read it. And you read all this stuff that you wouldn't understand, the arrangement, the producers, the studio, but you didn't care because it was part of the journey. You know,
Mhm.
you play this music and it would just tell a story. You know, albums used to tell a story. Now they don't,
Right.
you know.
No, it's just to get on the charts and sell a couple. It's not like it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to Star Wars, let's bring it back to Star Wars a little bit. What was it about Star Wars that resonated with you? Why was it when you needed to spend some money and do some self-care, you were like Stormtrooper? Like what about Star Wars really attracted to you?
Really, the memories, okay, memories of my childhood. I'll be 51 this year. So I've been around since I think the last dinosaur probably died or something, long time ago. But just growing up in that magical era of Star Wars, when I would watch the movies, because you know, I didn't have it on VHS. You know, you'd catch them on TV from time to time. Went to the movies, you see all of them. Um, and it was just the toys were the best part because you would leave the theater, and I had a friend who had a couple Ewoks, and you had another friend who had the Ewok village. I didn't have I didn't have a lot, but all my neighbors had everything. I was jealous of all of them. So I'd bring my little few stormtroopers and Lando Calrissian stormtrooper, and I had a Boba Fett with one arm, and I'd bring all my stuff, and they would bring their ships and all their stuff, and we would have battles, and the imagination would just take over.
Mhm.
And I think really that's what made Star Wars. I think the toys is what really made Star Wars what it is, because you got to reenact so much with all the props and all the toys and all the cool stuff that was released.
Yeah.
Kids today, they don't care because the video games are so good now.
Mm-hmm.
They can actually be the character rather than pretend to physically be this little plastic thing and stuff like that. So even my dad at the time would go to work, and he worked on a military base, and they had like this room next to the commissary. I never forget it. And you walked in, it was all dark. It was like walking into that porno room in the VHS rentals back in the day when you were a kid, looking around the corner. What's in there?
What's in there, Dad?
And it was wall-to-wall Star Wars figures and toys.
Oh my God.
And he would bring me one home every like once a week. And he would like take it out of the plastic, because who cared back then, and put it in a shoe or somewhere random, and I would just find it.
Oh,
just
that's awesome.
Excited. So it was like I said, going back to a comfort thing. Star Wars, I was always comfortable with Star Wars. It put me in a warm place. Like it really took me back to an innocence and memories that I missed, and I just would always hold sacred. And really, that was my love of Star Wars, really, and it just stayed with me. Now I don't like the new stuff that much, but I get to say that because I lived through the old stuff,
Right.
you know. And I'm not being a grumpy old man. I give everything a chance. But if it doesn't light me up, if it doesn't make me just lose it with excitement, then I have to be honest with myself. Like, this might not be for me, you know?
Yeah.
And then some people have a problem with that. Like, how can you not like Star Wars? You're the hip hop trooper. I hate you. You're stealing from us.
It's ridiculous.
I'm stealing from you.
Well, that's where the phrase "to each their own" comes from. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't waste your time. Go do something else that makes you happy. Life's too short for this.
And why are you so invested in what I like? I can list off so many things I love, and I guarantee you've probably never heard of them or have no interest. I'm not mad at you. I give you the opportunity to experience these things. If you don't want to, so be it.
Right.
I'm gonna be like, oh, I hate you. You suck. It's crazy, man.
Has Lucasfilm or Star Wars Official ever reached out? Have you done anything with them before, or they kind of just keep you on the fringe?
Never. I mean, the closest I think it came to was Celebration, one of the celebrations in Orlando.
Yeah.
And this is when I fell out with Anthony Daniels.
Oh, I didn't know you had to fall out
let's
with
hear
him.
it.
But that's not surprising because
You probably didn't buy his book, is what the problem was.
Listen, I would never. I would.
you were outshining him, is what you were doing.
I mean, well, what can I say? So it was in Anaheim. Actually, it was Anaheim Star Wars Celebration, and this is when I guess people really started doing crossovers, like Wolverine Trooper and
Yeah.
like Snow White Trooper and all these things.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I was the first to like really do a crossover type thing, but I was definitely one of the people to like show it to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So they invited me to a panel, and I was like, okay, I'll do the panel. So I show up at this panel, and it was me. It was like Wolverine Trooper, Disco Glitter Trooper, Snow White, and all these other ones. And it was good for like 10 minutes. And then it became this very awkward with all the girls in the panel about the whole cosplay is not consent thing and all this other stuff. And nobody used to talk to me. And it became this like awful thing. Like I hated it. Like,
it was
get
derailed.
me out of here. Like I'm here to celebrate this, not to be like, here's my sad story. So that ended. And we're in this elevator, this service elevator going back to the showroom floor. And these Star Wars dudes with clipboards ran up to us and said, hey, we're shooting for Star Wars TV. We want you to come in. Anthony Daniels, we're going to the cantina, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm already here. So we get there. They're filming. I've never seen this footage. Maybe it was live. I don't know. And Anthony Daniels comes in and he starts shaking everybody's hand. Oh my God, I love you. Yeah. Oh, amazing. Yes. Oh my God, incredible, incredible. Oh my God, you look gorgeous.
Yeah.
He got to me, and he stepped back, looked me up and down, looked at my chain, shook his head, and went to the next person. Didn't shake my hand.
Oh my God.
Didn't say anything to me. Nothing. I'm just standing there, like, what just happened? Like, don't get me wrong. I always thought he was cool, but he's a faceless character. Like, skinny guy could have been in that suit.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? But like, I'm like, wow. So I was like, yeah, he rubbed me the wrong way that day.
Wow.
That was the only time. And I remember I was at the premiere of The Force Awakens, unfortunately, and I got stopped on Hollywood Boulevard for an interview with Star Wars TV, and they ran out of time or something happened, so we didn't do it. But that's really the only like official interactions. And I think I had one more, another celebration where I was walking through and had a crew of people with the tracksuits on, and they was like, "We want to shoot you for Lucasfilm TV," and I declined. I said, "I don't want to do it." And I just walked off. But nothing really. But you know what? I know they know of me, just like Adidas. They've never done anything for me. They've never gave me anything. They used to send me emails like, "Hey, we love you. If there's anything you need, let me know." And I'm like, well, as a matter of fact, I do need a new pair of Superstar Dunks. I'm size 11. Okay. And nothing would ever happen. They would just gas me up every time. But then at the same time, like I never expect anything until people open up that door. Nothing happens. So I'm just like, whatever. I'm just going to carry on being me. But no interactions with Lucasfilm. Nothing, even when I lived in Burbank, I'm right there with the studios and all that stuff, but no Disney contact. No one's ever said anything to me, or no one's ever said, you can't do that, and you can't sell that, and you can't have this merchandise. And so I don't know if they just leave me alone because I'm not really causing any trouble.
Yeah.
But they know of me though. They know.
Everybody knows the hip hop trooper.
They know.
I mean, William Shatner knows the hip hop trooper. It transcends Star Wars to the other one, Star Trek. So it's it's pretty special. But
I'll tell you one quick story about one of the great things that never happened that should have happened. And someone does have this footage. Same situation. I'm at home in LA. I get an email. I think it's fake, but it's real. Black Eyed Peas are reuniting. They want me in the music video. Can I get down to the studio? They paid me a lot of money, which was great. So I get there. I'm in the room with all these supermodels and all these people dressed in like these crazy costumes and acrobatics. There was a gorilla in the other room. True story. Banging on the walls. It was
real gorilla?
Planet of the Apes shit, right?
Real gorilla?
A real gorilla, yeah.
And one of the girls said, there's a gorilla in the next room. I was like, no way. They said, no, they're going to put a gorilla in the music video. I'm like, bullshit. So I go around the corner. I kid you not, there's two zookeepers wrestling this gorilla, trying to put a gold chain on a gorilla. And the gorilla is like, "Rah!" And it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I went out of that room. Then there was a zebra, a real zebra with a gold chain on. And I'm like, this video is going to be crazy, right? So, and then I'm in this room with all these models and I'm suiting up, you know, and then I put my helmet on. I'm just kind of standing there. And the girl says, hey, are you excited to do this? Like, this is Black Eyed Peas. They're doing a new video, but we can't see your face. I'm like, this is my face.
To steal a line from Boba Fett.
This is my face. I'm a hip hop too, but this is my face. So then Will.I.Am comes in the room, ignores everybody, comes straight to me, puts his arm around me and says, this is the motherfucker I've been telling you about. This is the guy. This is the guy. I can't believe you made it. So excited to see me, right? So we do this video. It's a 2-day shoot. And when I tell you, they had Pimp My Ride, West Coast Customs came up with all these cars and stuff. And in the video, Will.I.Am and Taboo are playing with action figures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Will.I.Am takes a stormtrooper and he goes, watch this. And it just, like, some magical stuff happens and I pop up, right?
Yeah.
And we're dancing together and it's crazy. Video never came out, man.
Oh, man.
It turned out, in the end, they didn't like the song. They went with another song, which they shot in the record store in LA. And they scrapped everything. And I've seen a little bit of the footage here and there, but I haven't seen the footage with the added CGI and all that kind of stuff. And I was really looking forward to that one. That was like a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened, but it never happened unless he was there.
Right.
Amazing.
You know, that was a crazy one.
Amazing.
And just what I am to put his arm on me and tell everybody. And I bumped into him in public a couple of times. And yet again, he goes out of his way to come over to me and we shoot it up. And he was at the time, I had actually Adidas on my suit. And he pulled me to the side and said, hey, man, like, how much are Adidas paying you? And this is the coolest. And I said, nothing. And he couldn't fathom that. Why are they not using me? Considering they have Star Wars licenses and they release shoes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. And then in the video, they covered it up because they wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But then when I went home after that weekend, that's when I took off the Adidas and then it just says Trooper now. So everywhere that would say Adidas only says Trooper now.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept the stripes, but I stripped that off my suit.
Gotcha.
You know, because and then also it's kind of nice to be like, well, I'm not representing Adidas. They don't care about me. You know? Why am I showing them? Like, even though the flower's there and everybody knows it's still Adidas, but you know, it says Trooper. So
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to ask. It kind of sounded like Adidas is not part of the costume anymore. But you said it says Trooper now.
mm-hmm.
How many versions of the costume are there? Is it just the one now?
No, I have about 6 because I did the Champion one because Champion actually sponsored me. I showed up, I DJ'd a bunch of their corporate events, and then they sent me so much clothes. I gave it away to everybody. And they made me custom shoes from Italy, all kind of stuff. They paid me money. They flew me to places, put me in hotels. The only thing is, my Champion version of my suit, I never really enjoyed wearing because it wasn't the hip hop that I created. It was a new thing, but I didn't like it as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, actually, look, I'll show you the Champion helmet. Right, wait. I'll come back to that. I need to get a step ladder. It's way up there on the shelf.
Okay.
Like, nah, I could flick it off. If I don't catch it, it's gonna be and lenses and stuff.
No, we don't want that.
Yeah, but I made an actual the Champion suit, which is I still have in storage, and I have like 4 other suits. and probably enough parts to make another 10 suits.
Wow.
Chest plates, legs, arms, Same with the chains. Probably had maybe 9 different chains, about 11 different pairs of shoes. I still have them all except for the very first pair that's in the museum. I have, I believe, 47 boom boxes now, ranging from 1978 up to modern stuff.
Wow.
But yeah, cassettes. Nowadays, I play cassettes at every event. I show up with a backpack full of cassettes, and I'm just playing cassettes through old school 80s boxes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unless I have to bring out the big FU block box, which is Bluetooth, and blast everybody out.
That's the backup for the next Dragon Con, just in case.
Yeah. Like, I'll
just
play
in
mine,
case.
but don't
So
push me.
Do you have them all like in a room displayed, or are they all like in storage?
Yeah, are you like Iron Man with all your different?
Well, I'm talking like the
Suits.
boom boxes.
Oh, the boom
we talk
boxes.
about the
This
suits.
room has quite a few boxes. Like if I turn this camera around, you should see a bunch of boxes
Oh
there.
wow!
There's some boxes there. There's obviously the one up there on the shelf. So if you remember the movie Do the Right Thing, that's the same J1 that Radio Raheem had. And then there's some more boxes. In this room, there's some more boxes. The one up there, Death Star Thumper, just a bunch of other hip hop trooper stuff. This room is kind of like a little hip hop trooper shrine, so to speak. Like when people come to stay with me, I always put them in this room so they could be like, "Look what he's done."
I mean, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive.
Well, Jason does the same thing with his Star Wars room. That's where his guest room.
Yeah, you got to do it, man. You got to put them in this room so they can just sit there all night. Especially like I love it when like I have friends come over that are like into the same shit, but the wives not so much.
Yep.
Because I can hear them in the room and they grab the lightsaber off the wall and they're like, "Look at this! Oh my god, look at this!" And I can hear them like, "Yeah, look, he's loving my shit. He's loving my shit."
Yep. I know the feeling. So what's the future of the hip hop trooper? Do you have any plans? Do you have any ideas of how to evolve the character anymore?
Well, I do have a comic book finally coming out. I've had a few here and there, but people tend to start stuff and then they stop it. I had an animation thing and then they started it and they stopped it. And then I was going to go to Celebration Tokyo this year. And I've made a little trooper for my son. And then I found out that it's against the law, kind of, and you're not allowed to walk down the street in armor or any masks or any costumes in Tokyo. So I was like, well, I'm not going. And I heard you had to bring your stuff from the hotel in a tub to the convention center, get suited up in some changing room with 100 people that probably smells like corn chips and Doritos. And then you do the show, walk around the showroom floor, same old shit, nothing changes. Because the showroom floor, when you've seen it once, you've seen it all.
Right.
Get dressed again, and then go back to the hotel. I wanted to walk through the streets of Tokyo with my son and his little boombox and one of my boomboxes and just get that moment. So I said, I'm not going. So I didn't go. That was my big thing I had planned. Now it's just, obviously, Dragon Con's coming up. It's kind of a big deal coming back. It's kind of like a high school reunion for me.
Right.
To show up and be like, I remember you. What happened to you?
He's back.
But you look the same. Yeah, it's plastic.
Yeah.
But other than that, I got the museum stuff. Like we have a big this August. I think we're inducting Kid and Play, Salt and Pepper. Who has a few other big names we're inducting. So I look forward to doing that every year or sometimes twice a year. That's in August as well. It's hard to say because I'm still living in this spontaneous, random world. I will say one thing though, I don't do anything in Nashville. Nothing whatsoever. I didn't convert into the cowboy trooper or trooper or nothing like that. There's just nothing in Nashville for me in terms of hip hop trooper. They have a few mom and pop conventions. I just don't have the energy to do it because it's been 15 years I've done the hip hop trooper, and I used to do the mom and pop conventions. I've done all the big ones and the celebrations and the San Diegos, and it's just exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, I hate saying this, but it got to the point with me, I would suit up and go to a convention. And this is a stupid thing to say. I just wanted to be left alone. It was weird. It was like, I don't want photos. I don't want, like, I can't move. I can't do anything. I can't go nowhere. Like, it got to the point where I was like, I felt like Michael Jackson. It was like, I can't go nowhere. I can't. I want to enjoy the show. I want to do stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be selfish, because some people would crave that attention. But I just got to the point where I didn't want it anymore. Like, I was miserable wearing the suit. So I stopped going to a lot of big conventions because I didn't have the energy for it, And I'll tell you another quick story that kind of compares to it, but I'm not comparing myself to this person by no means. So I did the last Stan Lee Comic Con in Long Beach, and I did a panel there as well. And I got there, and I had this I had this huge booth, and it was amazing. So I had to suit up for this panel, and they put me in this changing room. And I remember I wheeled my stuff past Stan Lee, and he was signing Funkos and stuff. And his handler was holding his arm, and he was just doing this.
Yeah.
Sliding it through. And he was like exhausted, right?
Yeah.
And I saw this, and I saw the line of hundreds of people, and I'm like, wow. So I go in this little room to the right, and I'm in there, and I've got one leg on, and all of a sudden the door opens, and it's Stan Lee. And he comes in, and he sits right next to me. And you know what he does? He does this.
Wow.
Poor guy.
I've seen some of that footage towards the end there. Yeah.
And I'm looking at him, and everything I ever wanted to say to him was like, you know what? I'm going to leave him alone. So I got suited up. And I never forget this. And I stood up, and I said, thank you. I tapped him on his shoulder, this little tap, and I left the room. And that was my Stan Lee moment.
Right.
And what was great, I actually was contacted, and I actually bartended his last birthday party.
Oh, wow.
In the Hollywood Hills. They made this like, it was like a Tony Stark's mansion. They made it like the Avengers. Walked in, they had a bunch of people cosplay as characters, but it was like this mansion, and they put all these things around it. And I actually bartended that night at his house. Well, I don't know if it was his house or rented house or whatever, but that was a pretty cool moment,
Yeah.
But as me, I wasn't in armor or nothing like that. But that Stan Lee moment was weird to me because he was so exhausted, but he was still there for his fans, And that's how, like I said, not comparing myself to Stan Lee by no means, but I started to feel that way as Hip Hop Trooper. I wanted to be there, but I was like, I don't want to be here, man. But I'll take all these photos for the next 8 hours, but I just can't do this. It's just exhausted.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. I mean, you got to live your own life, and if it's exhausting, you don't love it anymore, it's time to take a step back. I mean,
yeah. So I love being a Hip Hop Trooper. When I suit up, it still feels like yesterday. And the Hip Hop Museum was a great thing for me because I get to do these things, and I get to induct all my idols into the Hip Hop Museum.
Yeah.
And like, it's kind of like fairy tale story. This guy made this hip hop character based off all these legends, and now I'm with these legends. I'm in the hotel with these legends. I'm having breakfast with these legends. I'm on stage with these legends. And it's just been a crazy going from comic book conventions to doing this.
Yeah.
It's just been wild, It really has been.
Probably a lot of pinch me moments, like, how did I get here? All because I painted the Stormtrooper red?
It's crazy. I always hit up a friend, and I say, hey, you want to come with me? And they say, yeah, I'll come. And there's always a friend that's like, holy shit, I just met Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Open up the door for Curtis Blow. Oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, man, enjoy,
All right.
And I mean, we've had you for an hour, so I don't want to take too much more of your time, but what do you think of the kind of subculture that you've kind of developed there? I mean, a lot of people wear the tracksuits, and they put on a black Stormtrooper helmet, and they kind of follow your lead. And I mean, it's really all because of you.
I think it's awesome, man. I really do. Every year I get pictures sent to me. I get tagged and a bunch of stuff on Celebration this year. People with the tracksuit, various characters. They do hip hop versions of characters. And it's everything now. You got an Akbar with a tracksuit.
Yeah.
You got
it's a wrap.
You name it, all got tracksuits on. And I'm like, damn, like did I really start this? You know, and I always try to reach out to whoever's doing it, because a lot of people, they think I'm going to get mad, like I'm copying them. We all copy something in our lives, you know. And I'm like, no, like if I inspired you to do this, and you feel the energy that I created when you put this on, and you feel this confidence and all this stuff, go for it. Do it big. You know what I mean? Like, just don't say you're me. Yeah, I'm the real hip hop trooper. Then we got a problem.
Right.
You're inspiring people to be their authentic self. It's like you could be a stormtrooper, but you can also inject your own personality and kind of bring yourself forward a little bit and share yourself with the world. And I really applaud what you've done with that. I mean, you've inspired people to do that, which is just amazing.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate it, man. And it's like I said, it never gets old, man. When I see people, you know, dressing up, and especially Halloween, I'm always, even to this day, I'm getting parents send me pictures of kids in their little hip hop trooper with cardboard cutout boom boxes, you know. And,
oh, wow.
Claire accessories, chains, and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is like, this little kid has seen me and said to his parents, can you make that for me for Halloween? You know, that is just that's incredible, man. It just blows my mind.
It doesn't get better. It doesn't get any better than that.
No, it doesn't get any better. But you lot, since you lot on Star Wars toys, do you want to see a couple of Hip Hop Trooper toys?
Yeah, let's see them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's there's a lot. Let me see what. Cool. I'm gonna show you some rare stuff that no one's ever seen.
Oh, exclusives.
Exclusives. Let me get a couple really rare. This one's really cool. Let me get this one. Oh, this is so a friend of mine actually named Nepal. He does a lot of really cool toys. So he did it's a Boba Fett like hip hop trooper, where he's got headphones which just came off. Really cool, like jetpack.
Yeah.
But it's like if hip hop trooper was Boba Fett, this would be him. And then he also did a wrestling series where I'm actually one of the wrestlers.
That's all, because we've got friends that collect that wrestling series.
Yeah, so you know, the hip hop trooper, I have one, you know, and it's hardcore. You can wrestle with it. You know,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
That's awesome. It's like the Healy made stuff.
Yeah,
that's fun.
So I don't know if you saw, this was I guess the first figure that really started it off. And this was at New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
And this one was made by Tenacious Toys. Their booth got shut down by Disney, which was crazy because they were selling so many. They had to, and their booth was popping. I wasn't there, but I signed the card back to send it to them, but they shut down their booth and then they sold the rest online. But these sold out super quick. Wow. I've seen these on eBay for like stupid money.
Yeah. Wow.
And there's one on eBay that's always stupid money. Right now, I've seen it for like $2,400 or something.
Wow.
Let's see if I can grab that one. And that will be
$2,400.
Wow. That is more than a vintage.
Yeah. This one, right, is pretty neat because on the back, it's me as a kid playing with figures.
Oh, wow.
Right. And we had a send-off. You could actually send off the coupon and you get the replica Death Star Thumper boombox separate.
I love it.
This was made by Special Ed Toys by a guy named Manny. This one, like if you check on eBay, you'll see it like $2,400, $2,600. Insane. And they were like $50 when we bought them out.
Yeah.
We sold 75 of these. But yeah, this one was crazy. You know, I have one in the box. I have one actually, I ripped out the cardboard, which I was playing with and taking photos with. I think the arm broke off that one, as they do. So that's a good one. Then
that's his retirement right there.
Yeah.
I mean, wait a couple more years, that'll be about $5,000-$6,000, and
I have a lot of Funkos. I have a lot of
Funkos.
This one's pretty cool. So I did this one here. This is a prototype.
That's the one I have. I have that one.
The prototype one?
Yep, I have that one.
Yeah, with the comic book on the back.
Yes, my brother got that for me.
Nice, nice. So there's like 12 different versions of this one. There's even a Black Panther one where I'm wearing like the Black Panther
Oh wow.
costume. But they just this is a company called Create. They Co-Create. They went crazy. We made so many different ones, graffiti ones. Like I said, the Black Panther one.
Yep.
Where
Is there a Black Series one, like a 6-inch one?
there is. Let me see if I can find one.
If not, I mean that's an easy custom. I can pop one of those down.
And this one's a bit more recent. Star Wars Celebration 2022. This is a all gold version.
Oh.
This one was made by Blue Box Designs.
No, that's Daniel, right?
That's Dan Lowe. Yeah,
That's
he's
Dan
a buddy
Lowe.
of ours.
That's our buddy Daniel.
Yeah, this is one of his. I had a silver one too, but I auctioned that one off for charity. Here's a newer one. I love this one. This one's cool.
That one's awesome.
That is pretty cool. I love the style on that.
Yeah. And it has a boombox, Death Star Thumper boombox that goes with it and stuff.
Man,
I think of this something you guys have never seen. I don't think anyone's ever seen this little bad boy here. Little Lego.
Lego one.
Oh, that's
wow.
awesome.
Details are crazy.
That's great.
Yeah.
There he is. The helmet comes off.
Darker than normal, but that's
The helmet comes off. We see Stryder there.
That's me. I'm trying to get a guy in LA named Toy Nami. He makes these cardboard figures.
Wow.
So he made this one of me like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so what happens is you buy it and you get the cardboard and you just fold it, and it turns into me. So
wow.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
It comes like flat packed. Like I actually just folded, like it says bend A to B, bend C.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, boom, I pop up. Cardboard.
Amazing.
Right. That's awesome.
It's crazy.
And is that a stuffed one there on the video
one,
game?
A friend of mine called Les. This was my birthday many, many years ago. I don't even know who made this, but it's incredible.
Yeah.
So it even has like the Walkman, speaker, like the shoes are like on point, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like the armor is bendy, and it's a stuffed toy. It's like
That's amazing. The talent of people.
I would love to, like, somehow get in touch with whoever made this or someone and just make hundreds and then sell them for like $20 for kids,
Yeah.
Maybe have a little button where you press it and it goes, "I'm the hip hop trooper." Fuck Dragon Con, just have it do something. Other than I got this one. Actually, I'll show you these. This is a recent one. This one. Oh, I have another story. You'll love this one.
Okay.
So actually, I'll get the figure too. All the stories are coming out now, man. Bro, we gotta do a part 2.
Yeah, let's keep going.
This is a pretty neat one. This is a company based in Australia. They did like a Funko version of me. It's pretty hard to see with the reflection.
No, I see it.
But it came with like they just did one with Paul Wall too. He has one. And it came with all these cool accessories. It came with like a Game Boy cartridge that you put into a Game Boy, and all of a sudden my stats come up and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness.
Let me quick ask you a question. On the side of that,
yeah,
is an illustration of you and the Tantive 4, like that side.
This one?
Yeah, and that's a pretty iconic pose of you. How did that come up? Because if you Google Hip Hop Trooper, it's that shot with some stormtroopers behind you.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that? Is it
all right? So the picture of me is actually during Dragon Con, my first parade as the Hip Hop Trooper in red.
Yeah.
2011.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody took that picture of me on Peachtree Road, photoshopped it with the UK garrison in London.
Oh, okay.
That picture of me walking past the stormtroopers, I was never there.
Got it.
It's just one of those random stormtrooper booths that someone took a picture of and then added me to it.
But it's so perfect. I mean, it's just like, here I come. I'm in the building now. Yeah. All the stormtroopers behind are just like watching, like, oh, there's this hip hop trooper.
But I'm actually walking down Peachtree Road. That's the best part.
Yep.
So obviously a lot of people have made custom pops of me, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
really cool.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you a really cool story. So it was the last time I did San Diego Comic Con, and I hosted a party for Funko. I made a lot of money that day because they gave me all these Funkos, and they said, take what you want. I didn't know these things are worth that much money, so I threw them on eBay and then it went crazy. But I met the CEO of Funko at the time, and he really liked what was going on. I said, hey, man, when are you going to do a hip hop trooper? Like, I've had toys, but nothing really available to people off the shelf. It's a collector's market. They sell out quickly, but I would love for something on the shelf that's not 50, 60, 70 bucks that some kid can play with. And he said, you know what? It's a good idea, man. We should talk. And he looked at me and he actually took a picture of me and said, I'll get back to you. And I'm like, it's going to happen. An official hip hop trooper Funko. This is it. This is it. And like 8 months later, I don't know if you remember, but Target did a red trooper. One. So they did this in Target, and I got one of them here. And when this came out, everybody was hitting me up. Yo, you got a Funko in Target. And I'm like, no, I don't. It's a red stormtrooper. That doesn't mean it's me. But at the time, there was no such thing outside of some comic stuff. But he told me he wanted to work with me. So in my mind, had a conversation and said, let's just do a red one. Don't worry about him. Let's do a red one.
Yeah. But I bet you they went back to Lucasfilm, and Lucasfilm's like, no, you can't do that. He's not licensed. We're not paying for that. We don't want to owe him money.
Yeah, probably. But you know what? Like I tell people, and they say, hey, man, you put in a lot of work. You should be. Why are you not in a movie? Hip Hop Troopers should be canon and all this stuff. And I say, look, I'll be honest with you. In the Star Wars Disney world, I'm not canon. But in this world,
yes,
canon as fuck.
Yeah.
And as Stan Lee would say, enough said.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm
right.
still around. I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to surprise some people. I'm still going to make some people's day. I still do charity stuff. I still show up to help kids. I don't promote everything like I used to because I just don't feel the need to. But I'm still around, man. And some people say, like, where did you go? I'm like, I didn't go anywhere. I just grew up slightly. I grew up a little bit.
Yeah, kids will do that to you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It shifts your priorities a little bit.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for spending this evening with us. This has been amazing. It's been great to get to know you a little bit. And I've never been to Dragon Con, but I'll probably try to go this summer if I can.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there, man. Let me know. Let me know, man. Join me. Let's have a beer. Let's hang out.
Absolutely.
Let's make some noise, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's make some noise, And like I said, it was an honor. I even told my wife, I was like, hey, I'm doing a podcast. She said, you haven't done one of those in a while. I said, yeah, I know. Kind of miss it. Everybody used to ask me. Then people stopped asking me. There's always the same reason. Well, we didn't know if you would do it. We didn't know.
Because you're a legend. I mean, how do we compete with Run DMC or Will.I.Am? It's like
it doesn't matter. Like I'm excited. I'm about to. As soon as I'm done, I'm going to eat some food. I'm going to run downtown and meet a couple of friends of mine that are in town, and I'm going to tell them about this moment. I'm like, yo, I had a podcast with these dudes. They were cool. They wanted to get to know me a little bit more. I shared a couple stories. But here's the best thing: we have to do a part 2 because I've got so many stories.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll do it. Absolutely. We'll have you on in a heartbeat.
It's just the ones you know about. There's a bunch more. Next time I come on, I want to talk about the movie that I was supposed to be in, and they put in a fake version of me. So
all right.
There was a movie with Mike Epps and who's the other comedian? Is it Russell Peters? It was Mike Epps, Russell Peters, and I was supposed to be in that movie. And I was, but I wasn't. But we'll get into that on the next episode. I'll give you something to lick your lips and lick your chops and get ready for. Because that's another good story.
We'll follow up after Dragon Con so that way we can see how it actually went. So we have those stories and you can tell us this story as well. So
yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, all right, man. Well, hey, send me some literature, whatever, so I can share this with people and tell them what to expect and where to go and stuff like that.
Will do. Yeah, I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Right on, man. Well, hey, you guys enjoy your weekend.
You too.
Thanks for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
Man. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. That was cool, man.
That was amazing. Like,
And it's cool that he's like, let's do another one because it's like with the ice was just starting to break.
Yeah. And like you were saying, like, I just felt like he was too cool for us. Like, I mean, like I said, how do we compete with Run DMC and William Shatner? It's like we're just two dudes in Atlanta who like Star Wars, and
Yeah.
what an awesome guy.
Yeah. Well, podcasting's easy because if you have an hour on a computer, you can do it.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Well, thank you everybody for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. If you could leave a like and a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen, it really helps us out and points people to our show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo, and thank you to Levi Waterhouse for the music. People, collect for the love of it. Hashtag vote with your wallet. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. This is the way.
This is the way.
That was all memory.
Wow, good for you, Jason.
Only took 4 years.
Congratulations. It only took you 5 years.
5 years.